Good evening, and welcome to this regular meeting of the Helotes City Council. It's October 10th, 2019, and we're underway at 7 p.m. If you would, if you have a cell phone or other electronic communication device, if you would please turn it to off, silent, or vibrate, we'd appreciate it. We'll start our agenda with the invocation. Tonight, Councilmember Blue will do the invocation for us, then we'll have the pledge to the Texas and American flag. So if you would please stand for the pledges and the invocation.
Heavenly Father, as we gather here this evening, we are thankful for your presence and that as we contemplate issues that will shape the future of our community. Help us to strike the right balance between the short and long-term needs of our city so that we don't put one before the other. We ask that you protect our police, firefighters, and all of our public servants as they work daily to make our community better for all of us. And finally, we ask that you provide guidance to all our elected officials, that they keep the citizens first in every decision they make. We ask this in your holy name.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, next up we have something special to do tonight. We had one of our council members resign, moving out of the state, and so we have a new member that was approved by council and to be appointed into his place one, and that's Alan Holmes, and so we'll do his oath of office. So Alan, come on up here and we'll get you sworn in. Just to give you a little background on Alan, he came last year and volunteered. He wanted to serve on our Board of Adjustment, and I usually interview all the appointees, and I told him, I said, gee, you know, because he has a good experience in construction, so I said, you ought to think about our Economic Development Corporation. And he was a little apprehensive, but he went home and thought about it, talked it over with his wife, and agreed to serve on that. So we appointed him November 8th of last year, and when this vacancy turned up, I called on him again and said, hey, how about moving up to council? So he thought about it again for about a week. And so here we are, and we appreciate him willing to step up and be appointed and fill out this unexpired term. So we'll get this oath underway. Oh, I got the wrong form. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, I, Alan R. Holmes, solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of the City Council, Place 1 of the City of Helotes, of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. Congratulations. Good job. Take your place. We're so excited. Okay, next up, we have some unfinished business, an item that was postponed our last meeting and postponed till this meeting. Yeah, okay. Open session, citizens to be heard. We don't have anybody that signed up to speak, so we're blowing past that. Unfinished business, this is discussion of an action on a resolution approving an agreement for management services between the City of Helotes and the City of Helotes Economic Development Corporation. And this is just basically for services that are provided by the City of Helotes to our Economic Development Corporation on an annual basis, mainly financial assistance using our city treasurer, IT services, using the IT company, and then also the city administrator's time. Did Rick send you that city administrator stuff that I gave him?
It's on the cover sheet, Mayor,
Is it?
on the first page.
It's right here.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, so that pretty well explains, just looking at it as far as allowing time, since our city administrator also serves as the Economic Development Corporation's executive director. We've never asked for compensation for his time, but it's getting to the point where enough time is being allocated by him, both going to conferences and just the time it takes him to help with agendas and everything else for the EDC. We've normally been spending or charging them $5,400 as a flat fee, and that's been stable for 2 or 3 years. And so now it looks like with the city administrator's time, it's close to $15,000. And so the recommendation we have is to take it back to them and increase the fees that we're charging them for these services from $5,400 to $15,000. And if you all agree with that or come up with something in the middle of that, then the EDC will reconsider that at their meeting next week. So that being said, we'd take a motion and a second to discuss and take action on this item.
Mayor, I make a motion to discuss, take action on 4.
We have a motion from Buys
I'll second that.
and a second from Blue. So Bert, it's your motion. Do you have any discussion?
Not really. I am for this, the way it was brought to you. First of all, I'd like to thank you for doing this, for showing us really what it is costing us, as, you know, for the EDC. I've been kind of, you know, didn't really understand why we didn't charge for the city administrator's part in the EDC, and I'm glad you brought that up. I think this is, do you want it to be a flat 1,500 or the amount that you're putting down here?
The recommendation is for 15,000. We
Okay.
just
Oh, there
rounded
it is.
up-
Okay.
We just rounded it up because
Okay.
there are other
Okay.
minor things that we do, so we just figured 15,000 would cover everything.
Okay, and if this action that we're taking is to send it back to EDC for their approval?
Yes,
Okay, well, I don't understand, if they don't approve it, then what happens?
doesn't really matter.
That's what I thought,
Yeah,
so.
it's just a
okay,
courtesy.
Okay,
And it's just one of those things that it's not in their budget, so they'll have to make a little adjustment in their budget.
well, I totally agree with it being raised up to 15,000. I mean, this line item sheet and the amount of time that the city administrator's taking needs to be paid for. That's my feeling on it.
Alex?
I concur completely. Thank you.
Okay.
I concur.
Alan, you agree? Paul?
Yeah, I think we ought to get at least reimbursed for our expenses.
Yeah.
At cost.
Okay.
If it's just at cost, that's fine. So I'm in agreement.
Okay. No other discussion being necessary, we'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Now we'll go to our consent agenda. For those of you who are not really familiar with this type of a meeting, a consent agenda is a grouping together of multiple items that the staff and I consider to be fairly routine city business. And the intention is for them all to be handled with one motion and 1 second as a group. However, if a council member has a question on any of them that we can answer fairly briefly, they can ask that question and we'll answer it. If it takes more than just a simple question and answer, they can request to have an item pulled for discussion with the rest of the agenda items. And so at this time, I would ask council members, do you have any questions on any of these items or requests to pull any of them? And these are items 5 through 12. No questions? No request to pull? Okay, then I'd look for a motion to discuss and approve, or to approve consent agenda items 5 through 12.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve consent agenda items 5 through 12 as written.
We have a motion from Fredericks. Do we have a second? Second from Blue. With no discussion being required, we'll call the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Consent agenda items 5 through 12 are approved. That takes us down to item 13 under individual items for consideration. First up, we have discussion and action on the following appointments for the EDC Board of Directors. First, we have Blaine Lopez, place 4, Ron Lane, place 2. And I've, like before, we have both of them on the same item, so the motion will be to approve both at the same time. And Blaine is here. And for those of you who are not aware, we had the city council member that Alan replaced, required Alan to resign from the EDC because a council member cannot also serve on the EDC. And then we had another one of our EDC members move out of town, and there aren't any places for non-residents, so we're having to replace him, so he resigned as a result. So Blaine Lopez is going to be taking Alan's place, and then Ron Lane, who I see back here, will be taking Patrick Adams' place. So Blaine, if you're up first, if you'd step up there, and we'll see if council has any questions for you, but just introduce yourself to them and how excited you are to be considered for EDC.
Well, first of all, let me say thank you. Have this opportunity. Very excited. Obviously, big shoes to fill for Mr. Holmes there. He did an outstanding job, obviously, to be taking a spot on council. So congratulations. And for me, I've got my work cut out for me. So a little bit on me, native San Antonian for forever, except for a little time I was away at College Station for school.
Another one?
Yeah, another one. Came back to San Antonio, been happy to be back here. Been a neighbor, I guess, of Helotes for a long time. For 16 years, I lived right in Sonoma Ranch off 1560 there. So kind of fell in love with the city from the outside, trying to figure a way to get in because the point of entry is a little bit difficult. But in 2014, I had the opportunity to buy some property in Iron Horse and took advantage of the opportunity, saved up my pennies in 2018, built a house and moved over here. So very excited to actually be inside the city limits. Been loving it for the past year. It's everything I thought it would be and more. Been enjoying all the different functions we do as a city, and I think it's amazing to me about how close we are to San Antonio, but at the same time so different. And of course, my job, or what I'm going to be doing now on the board, is to make sure that I'm protecting those qualities, but at the same time trying to figure out ways to enhance them. So my background, what my bachelor's in is I'm a civil engineer. So that kind of gives you an idea of what, I guess, my skill set that I'll be bringing to the board. I mainly work in land development. Single family is my personal specialty. But the partner, KFW, the firm I'm in, does all kinds of land development from commercial through industrial, through multifamily. So I've seen it all. And obviously, I know the pros and cons of all of them, so I'm looking forward to kind of giving my input on that. I'm also, just as a fun fact, I'm also a minority owner in Easy Printing right down Bandera Road here. So I have a little investment inside the community as well. So looking forward to it. I'm very accessible. If y'all ever have any questions for me or want to just talk to me about anything, feel free to call me anytime, call me to the side, whatever it may be.
Great. Any questions? Anybody?
I do.
Okay.
All right.
I noticed that you're on the board of directors, or at least you were, for San Antonio West Side Chamber of
Yes.
Commerce. Are you still in that
Still
position?
still on their board.
And I see your hours available each month are 5 to 8 hours. And is that in addition to the time you'll be spending in meetings?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I kind of count the meeting time as just the time that it's kind of already built in, and I know that there's going to be time outside of it, and I totally understand that. So, You know, with where I'm at in the company, I'm very flexible in my ability to make more time. So I don't think it's going to be an issue finding time to do this. I know there's going to be times, just like anything else, hard work takes extra effort.
Okay, thanks, and welcome to Helotes.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Blaine.
Yeah.
And next week.
wanted to ask
Oh,
Blaine.
go ahead, sorry. Yeah.
Well, I'd just like to tell everybody I knew Blaine. I don't know if I knew you were in diapers, but it was close.
Pretty close.
Yes. Yeah, and
Pretty
his
close.
parents are wonderful people, and they could see the results right there. I mean, I've known your parents for my whole life almost. And I can tell you this is a good man from good people. And one other thing I need to ask you, do you know what your salary is for it?
Oh, yeah. I do know that. yes.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure you still
there's
want
no
to, you still want to
commas
do
involved,
this.
And you don't even have to use a decimal. Yes, I do understand.
Okay, that's all I had.
Blaine also like to say, every year you get a 10% increase in
Oh,
your
great.
salary.
Yes, 10% of zero. I like it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Blaine.
Thank you.
Then next up, we have Ron Lane. Ron, come on up. And Ron is a citizen that lives over in Cedar Springs, and I've known him and his wife Lori for a number of years, just as acquaintances. And I really am glad that you're here, Ron, and willing to step up and help the city. So just tell us a little bit about
Thank you,
yourself.
Council members, thank you, appreciate you having me here in consideration on my behalf as far as my application. I was asked, by a member of the city to possibly consider, based on my experience and knowledge of things that fall within the EDC, and due to the emergency access for people that need and requirement here, I said, you know what, let me go ahead and consider this. I've been around here in the Cedar Springs community for 15 years in the Lotus area, contributed to many events that go on throughout the community over the years, and supported Mr. Schoolcraft, every time for during re-elections, posters, things of that nature. So I try to do my part within the community. I know Alex Blue from our neighborhood, so he's probably more familiar with me, as much as at least Tom anyway, maybe a little bit more. So on some of the things and debates or issues which we've had within the communities. I'm just here glad to be able to try to support the community. Currently, I work out at Camp Bullis. I'm still a full-time member out there, serving our service members still. I work as the Operation and Training Area Coordinator and Special Events Coordinator out there. I'm also the Contract Officer Representative for my organization. I do everything from, small things, big things, and if you have any questions, I'm here to hopefully volunteer, be able to work a site. So it looks like, we've got a civil engineer, so if I'm a contract officer representative, I think we're gonna have a pretty good married things together. What he doesn't know from my side, I'll learn from his side as far as the civil engineering part. So, and my other partner at work, though, happens to be a civil engineer, so, we're always debating back and forth of which direction to go on things, but, so.
Any
glad to be
questions?
here.
Questions?
Ron, I'd like to say, if I may, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Ron, I read your qualifications and your expertise, and I had to smile when I read it because it very closely parallels mine. And I want to let you know that you're going to be asked to put that experience, the construction experience and project management experience, to work over on the EDC. And the mayor and I and some of the EDC members were involved in several of the projects here in Helotes, and we enjoyed it. So I hope you're willing to do that. And it does take a little extra time.
I just hope I can do you right and, on the projects that you have assigned to us and things you want us to look at and produce what it is that you want.
Bert, anything?
I gotta ask, are you an Aggie too?
No.
That's all I had,
We'll
sir.
be watching the game though at 11
Oh,
after
okay.
I meet the community, Texas game today.
Okay.
Paul?
Just thank you for stepping up and serving.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ron. And again, I've talked to both these guys, and so pleased that both of you stepped up and agreed to help the city, and we'll try and keep it interesting and make it fun. Okay, I'll have a motion and a second then to approve their appointments.
Mayor, I make a motion to to approve their appointments, that you want the discussion and action, or?
Yeah, this discussion.
Make a motion, discuss, and take action on 13.
Okay, we have a motion from Buys for discussion and action on this is written,
Second.
and a second from Holmes. And again, the motion in a second is intended to approve both of them at the same time. Is there any further discussion before we take the vote? No discussion, we'll call the question. All in favor of approving Blaine Lopez for Place 4 and Ron Lane for Place 2 on the Helotes Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Congratulations, guys. You show up for work next Wednesday, right here. Appreciate it. Okay, that takes us to our next item. And this is discussion of and action on a request by Winton Robertson for approval of wall signage for a Mr. W Fireworks located at 10585 Shanefield Road. And you should have everything in your packet, hopefully that you needed to consider this. So we'll take a motion in a second to discuss and take action on this item.
Mayor, I make a motion, discuss, and take action on 14.
We have a motion from Buys. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Blue. Okay, Bert, it's your motion.
Well, I agree with P and Z's recommendation of approval of their request. I'm looking at all the paperwork, they're completely compliant. I recommend approval.
Alex?
I concur. I think planning and zoning did a good job of talking with the representative of the owner, and this sign is completely compliant where it's located on a large building, and I think it fits within our code completely.
Alan?
I do have a question. The signage, is it painted on the building, or is it letters projected out from the building?
It's actually letters.
Letters, yeah.
Projected, affixed to the building with, I think he even said 5/16 screws is what he said at the meeting.
Yeah,
Because that
okay.
question was asked.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Anything else? Alan? Anything else? Okay. Paul?
No, I agree. It's compliant, and I'm all for it.
Okay. Nothing else, Bert?
No.
Okay. Okay, looks like discussion is pretty well completed, so we'll call the question. All in favor of approving this sign for the fireworks stand, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, item is approved. Item number 15, discussion of and action on a request by Raul Torre, Nova Terra America LLC for approval of a residential subdivision entry sign for the Oasis subdivision located near the intersection of Shetland Gate and Shetland Brook. So we'll take a motion in a second, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we discuss and take action on item number 15.
We have a motion from Blue. Second?
Second.
Second from Holmes. Okay, Alex, it's your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that this residential entrance sign is also completely compliant. It's actually very nicely done. I know that the owners were there at the planning and zoning meeting here tonight, answered all the questions excellently. The sign is actually going to be a relatively small sign. It's a neighborhood within a neighborhood, so it works out really well. Tastefully done. It has lighting that's going to be completely compliant, and I completely concur with planning and zoning's recommendation for approval.
Okay, Alan?
I'm a little curious on the, we're looking at a quarter-size drawing, plot plan, and I'm looking at that entrance. I'm trying to figure out on this, if it was blown up a little larger, I could answer it myself. The two arcs, is that the sign? At the entrance?
The two what?
Arcs, you see the two dark arcs?
Yeah, did you look at this sheet here?
I did.
Okay. I'm still not following what your question is, but it looks like it's on a wall with just the lettering.
So it's just one sign like this?
Yeah.
Just one?
If you want to question the owners, they're here? Okay.
I'm curious on this drawing, again, if I had a full-size set of drawings, I could answer the question, but there are two dark arcs. You can see just at the entrance to the neighborhood to the left. as you enter. I don't know what I'm looking at there.
Okay. Could y'all, one of you come up and introduce yourself here that can answer the question and see if we can't get clarity on this? Just state your name and who you represent, if you would, please. Could you get a little closer? I can't really. Is she on?
It's on. Hello.
Hello.
My
Go
name-
ahead.
My name is Nidia Villarreal, and I'm representing Novoterra.
Okay.
I don't quite follow your question, sir. Would you mind repeating?
Come look at that. and show
Yeah.
me.
I think what you're looking at is the plan view.
It's on the screen here now, Alan.
Go- Is
Right,
that,
that's what he's looking at. That's the location of the sign,
oh, okay.
correct?
Correct.
Yeah, Alan, if you look at the last sheet as the plan view, it's showing the landscaped area, and then you'll see the sign is perpendicular to the street,
The light gray line.
the light gray line that's about 1/8 of an inch thick.
Good, good. It's not identified, yes.
Yeah, that would be the sign.
Green lumps that you're
And then they'll have the oasis
the
on
two.
both sides.
Okay, very good. It wasn't identified as a sign of, I didn't know what that light gray line is.
Yeah,
I now understand. Thank you.
okay. Thank you very much. Anything else, Alan?
No, I'm done. Thank you.
Paul?
No, I agree. This is a itty bitty little neighborhood and inside a huge neighborhood. The sign is very tastefully done, very nicely done, so I'm all for it. I like it.
Itty bitty?
It's a little neighborhood, isn't it? Inside that massive neighborhood.
Teeny tiny sign in an itty bitty neighborhood. There you go. Let's see, who had Alex, any follow-up?
No, sir, thank you.
Okay. Alan, anything? Bert? I'm sorry, I missed you. I looked right over your head, too. Anything from you?
Yes.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with the agenda item, but I would like to invite you guys to think about maybe being annexed into our great city. Right now, you're in the ETJ, just food for thought. Had nothing to do with the agenda item, I know, but we'd love to have you in our city. Just food for thought, okay? Thank you.
I don't know if that was a sales pitch or not, but I'm trying to see the relativity of that, but there for a minute, I was wishing that I'd have skipped you totally.
They can't be.
Huh?
They're not contiguous.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't.
Oh, it could be, yeah, where they are, yeah, yeah,
Still think about it, please.
yeah. You can think about it all day long.
Thank you.
Okay, no other discussion? Okay, then we'll call the question. All in favor of approving this,
Mayor,
yes?
I'm sorry, we want to just point something out. In the, where is it? The municipal code of ordinances, I just want to clarify, Mr. Councilmember Holmes asked if there would be 2 subdivision signs, and you said yes?
No, it's
It's on one side.
the lettering is on both sides.
The lettering is on both sides.
Yeah, but it's a single sign, lettering on both sides.
Oh, okay. Wanted to make sure.
Okay. You guys happy?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't 2.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor of approving the sign as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Congratulations. And by golly, that takes us to the end of our agenda. So if there are no objections from anybody on council, we will adjourn the meeting. Hearing none, we're adjourned at 7:30.